What is going on, basketball fans, and welcome back to NBA GOAT News. First up, let's start with the Lakers vs. Suns recap. The game tipped off with both squads trading blows. Anthony Davis came out swinging, racking up 25 points and a dominant 15 boards. LeBron James, his stat line was classic King James, 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 10 dimes. The Lakers kept pace in the first half, keeping it tight at 62-60 by halftime. But here's where the Suns turned the heat all the way up. The return to Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal had Phoenix fans fired up, and they didn't disappoint. Durant dropped 23 points in his trademark smooth style, and Beal was lights out, hitting 10 of 15 from the field. The real game changer, Devin Booker, the man, was unstoppable, leading all scorers with 26 points and dishing out 10 assists. Booker lit up the third quarter with 11 points in a jaw-dropping 14-2 run that buried the Lakers. Nurkic chipped in with a double-double, and the Suns went from tight to dominant, outscoring LA 36-18 in the third. Meanwhile, the Lakers went ice cold from beyond the arc, shooting a brutal 23.5% from deep. Even D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves combined 31 points couldn't save them from their third straight loss. When the dust settled, it was Phoenix on top, cruising to a 127-100 victory. This win snapped their 5-game skid and reminded everyone just how dangerous they could be when healthy. And man, what a game we had last night. The Houston Rockets and Minnesota Timberwolves showed off in an intense NBA Cup showdown. Alperen Sengun was on fire. The Rockets' rising star put up a triple-double, 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists. Whether he was threading the needle on assists or fighting through the paint, Sengun looked every bit the centerpiece for this young Houston squad. And don't forget about Fred VanVleet. The veteran was clutch, pouring in 27 points and dishing out 11 assists. He was the steadying presence Houston needed in the face of Minnesota's relentless attack. Dillon Brooks brought the energy and the buckets, adding 22 points. Love him or hate him, he's been a big reason this Rockets team is undefeated in the NBA Cup at 3-0. This win also clinched their spot in the quarterfinals of the tournament, but the Timberwolves didn't go down without a fight. Anthony Edwards dropped 29 points and 10 rebounds, carrying Minnesota on his back, but even his heroics couldn't quite seal the deal. And how about rookie Rob Dillingham? Filling in for the injured Mike Conley, the young guard had his best game of the season with 12 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. A glimpse of the future for Minnesota. Now, let's talk about a key moment. With just 15 seconds left in regulation, Sengun drove to the basket for a potential game-winning layup, but Rudy Gobert came up with a massive block to send the game into overtime. Talk about clutch defense. In OT, the Rockets' depth and three-point shooting carried them to victory. They hit 15 triples on the night, including an insane 10 of 18 in the first half to build their early lead. This young Houston team is looking legit, especially on defense. They forced 17 turnovers with 12 steals and 9 blocks. For the Wolves, this is their third straight loss, but there's a silver lining. This type of effort, especially from their younger players like Dillingham and Naz Reid, is exactly what they'll need to get back on track. Final score, Rockets 117, Timberwolves 111 in OT. Houston is on a roll, proving they're more than just a rebuild. They're a threat. And what a game. The San Antonio Spurs and Utah Jazz clashed in an intense NBA Cup battle last night. Let's start with the man of the hour, Victor Wembanyama. Wemby showed us why he's the future of basketball, dropping a ridiculous 34 points on the Jazz, 6 3-pointers, 13 of 23 from the field, and doing it all with that smooth confidence. But Wemby wasn't alone. Stephen Castle stepped up big time, matching his season high with 23 points. This kid was fearless, hitting key shots and keeping the Spurs rolling when they needed it. And then there's Julian Champagnie, 15 points off the bench, including 3 daggers in the fourth quarter. When the Jazz tried to rally, Champagnie said not tonight. His clutch shooting sealed the deal for San Antonio. On the other side, Keontae George gave the Jazz everything he had. The rookie dropped 26 points and nailed 6 threes, plus solid efforts from Colin Sexton and John Collins, each chipping in 20 points. But here's the problem, turnovers. Utah coughed it up 21 times, and you just can't win games like that. Now, the big moment that shook the Jazz, Lauri Markkanen, who had an off-night shooting, banged knees with Wemby in the fourth quarter and had to be helped off the court. Tough break for Utah, especially with their NBA Cup hopes on the line. And let's talk about the key moment of the game. Chris Paul drained a dagger 3 with the shot clock winding down. That gave San Antonio a 121-109 lead late in the fourth and completely shut the door on Utah's comeback hopes. The numbers tell the story. San Antonio dished out 30 assists, crushed Utah on the boards in the second half, and held the Jazz to just 22 points in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, Utah's three-point shooting went ice cold after halftime, hitting just 4 of 14 from deep. Final score, Spurs 128, Jazz 115. San Antonio keeps their NBA Cup dreams alive, while Utah is officially out. Wembanyama is looking unstoppable, and Spurs fans, the future is now. And man, last night, Chicago Bulls stormed into Washington and lit up the court with a dominant 127-108 victory over the Wizards. It was a night to remember for Bulls fans, as Chicago delivered their largest margin of victory this season. Nikola Vucevic was a force in the paint, dropping 19 points and pulling down 12 boards, showing everyone why he's a double-double machine. Vooch wasn't alone though. Toby White had the hot hand, leading the way with 21 points, while Zach LaVine added 18 in a balanced offensive attack. But the real fireworks, Chicago's second quarter explosion. After a slow start, the Bulls found their rhythm in the second, outscoring Washington 40-18. It was their second highest scoring quarter this season, and it put the game out of reach early. On the Wizards side, Kyle Kuzma fought hard with 23 points, and rookie Alex Sarr had a career night, tying his best with 20 points, including 4 3-pointers. The kid showed why Washington sees him as their future, but it wasn't enough to stop the Bulls, who tightened up their defense, allowing just 108 points, their second best defensive effort this season. The win moved Chicago to a 2-1 in East Group C, pulling into a 3-way tie with Boston and Atlanta. The race to the NBA Cup quarterfinals is heating up. And last but not least, the Milwaukee Bucks and Miami Heat put on an insane show last night. Lillard was simply unstoppable, dropping a jaw-dropping 37 points and dishing out 12 assists. Even without Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was sidelined with knee swelling, the Bucks showed why they're still a force to be reckoned with. Milwaukee came out firing, building a 22-point second half. Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis chipped in with crucial buckets, and the Bucks were looking unstoppable. But this is the Miami Heat we're talking about. Jimmy Butler led the charge with 23 points, Tyler Hero added 18, and Bam Adebayo chipped in 16. Miami clawed their way back, tying the game at 96-all with a classic Butler drive. And just when the Heat were knocking on the door, AJ Green said not so fast. Back-to-back dagger threes from Green sealed the deal, giving Milwaukee the breathing room they needed in crunch time. Lillard's performance was historic, matching Allen Iverson for 9th all-time with 30 games of at least 35 points and 10 assists. Meanwhile, the Heat struggled from beyond the arc, getting outscored 60-30 from deep. That was a difference maker. With this win, the Bucks improved to 3-0 in the East Group B of the NBA Cup, moving ahead of Detroit and keeping their streak alive at 5 wins in a row. Milwaukee is heating up, and they've got their eyes on the prize. Final score, Bucks 106, Heat 103. And man, the NBA Cup is heating up. If you want more NBA news, highlights, and game recaps like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.